It's been a lot going on
man.
in the wrestling world. Shout out to Al Snow, man. Shout out to Al
Shout out, Al Snow. Yeah, yo. If you're on the live,
I'm gonna say it on the pod too.
yeah,
but,
B.
you know, if you're on the live right now,
Shout out to Al Snow.
He saved the kid's life.
All right, here we go. We're going live. Recording. 3, 2. All right, we're gonna redo this one more time. Do not know what the fuck this
I must
is.
have touched something.
Oh, okay.
I don't know what happened.
All right. Let's go again. It's fine. And 3, 2.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
Gang shit.
Yo, what's happening, everybody? It is I, the Most High, with my tag team partner, CT, aka Chitty Bang.
What's good, everybody?
My nigga's rolling his own joint today.
Yes, I got you, right? Nah, I roll on joints before the pod. I don't like rolling joints on the pod. That's the thing about it. I'm not the joint roller Ayatollah. I am Chitty Bang. I roll joints and I gotta think, while I'm rolling the joint, because I'm like, okay, how am I gonna do it? So I'm gonna try to do this during the pod and see how it goes. But we are the underground of Professional Wrestling Podcast. I'm Chitty Bang, and this is the Most High, and we had a banger on the week of wrestling. But what?
I told my guy, I said, listen, roll your joint, I'll dry the whip. You feel me? You know what I mean? Like, I'll dry the whip. I'll lead the show off. I'll get us going. Yeah, you know I mean? And honestly, it's just for us to tell y'all what we got going on. You know what I mean? Hit us up. Everything is wrestling. Move the head a little bit. You see the motherfucker, everything is wrestling. That's what we are. That's what we do. EIWshop.com. You can pull up and get you a pack of joint roller Ayatollah rolling papers. What-the-dow? Come on! The best rolling papers that you do not have. You can go, we still got the Ben Balor shirt up. If y'all, you know what I mean? Go to EIWshop.com. We are live. Come on.
He's back, boy.
We're live on Patreon. Hit up the Patreon link. We'll have it down here. Hit us up on Twitter. Hit us up on Instagram and Facebook. Now, Twitter, we're RW1 Podcast. RW Podcast 1. I fucked that up because I am high. Twitter, we're RW Podcast 1. And on Instagram and Facebook, we are Reasonable Wrestling. Shout out to everybody that fuck with us, subscribe, like, share, retweet, all that good shit.
Shout out to the patrons, the patrons.
Oh man,
on our Patreon that just fucking with us. We got some good content on there. More coming this month.
More coming this month. You feel me? Now CT will usually ask me, "How's life? How's the kids?" And I will be obliged right now to let you know that my son, my oldest boy, my first boy, my baby boy, turned 2 this week.
His
namesake. You feel me?
Yes. Happy birthday to Chris Jr., Christopher Jr., 2 years old, man. How's it feel to have a 2-year-old kid, man? Come on, man.
Honestly, to be honest,
2 years you've been a papa.
He changed kind of the trajectory of everything that I got going on right now. You know what I mean? Honestly, even down to the podcast and how we move with the podcast.
Yep.
Like, it can't be for leisure no more. We got to try to make some bread out of it. You know what I mean? Like,
everybody listening to right now, the pod, I'll say this. Always try to make your passions eventually. Do your passions because you love them, first and foremost. Just do them. Just makes you happy. But, if you can turn that into an income source, it just makes your life that much more blessed, So, and when you have family, it's even more important that you take that to, that degree. So, a lot of people say, doing a podcast while having a kid, they wouldn't stop it. So, I'll give you credit all the time about, sticking it through, being consistent with the pod, and having a family. Me, I'm a bachelor, baby. Fuck what you heard. So, happy birthday, Chris Jr. though. That's good though.
Yo, and honestly, with that being said, like that's the kind of reason why we didn't really do reaction to All Out, which was on the 5th. You know what I mean? And you know, we let it breathe, to be honest. You know what I mean? Because we could have been hella reactionary. You know what I mean? We were communicating via text and everything like that. And you know, I said I gave it a C- show. And C+ show, and my nigga was like, "Oh, bro, that's wow." You know what I mean? Like,
I was saying, okay, let me ask you a question. Has AEW made a statement, in your opinion?
AEW made a statement, in my opinion. AEW been made a statement though, so
Okay.
I am going to be forthcoming and let everybody know I am a WWE bias. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you. We've gotten there on the pod finally. He admits his bias to WWE, and that's fine because you feel it, you understand it, you admit it. But when it comes to just wrestling and the energy that's going on right now, AEW has raised the bar, man. They have raised the bar of the industry, and that's what they wanted to do, and they're doing it.
Now, I would say pause on that, because prior to there was an AEW, some would say New Japan did that.
No, I wouldn't say that. I would say that New Japan has always been good, but they definitely got interest, a buzz during the time where I felt like, yes, New Japan, not necessarily shaking up the industry, but New Japan is also a company out there that is like, hey, people want to work at. People want to see what's going on.
You never thought that New Japan was shaking up the industry, even when they had Bullet Club?
No, when they had Bullet Club, I think that started to
so that's
started to add intrigue to their show. You know, to their wrestling show. That it garnered attention. Get the Bullet Club. That's what I mean. But shaking up the industry is, you know, having the fans go nuts and talk about your shit as the main topic of conversation in the industry. New Japan, they had moments.
People were definitely doing that when it was Kenny Okada, when it was,
it wasn't like this, though.
It wasn't like this? It was never like this?
No. It's not like this. No one ever thought that New Japan was a place where all indie fans were gonna pick. It was hard to even get the content on a consistent basis. You know?
Okay.
They had to come up with the whole streaming service, and eventually, you know, it was never like, hey, you know, you got a television show, and then, you know, we can talk about the debuts and all that with All Out, which is great. We'll get into that.
But we're talking about strictly the show.
Strictly the show. From top to bottom. It was a really good wrestling show. I gave it an A. At the very least, I would say a B+. And I don't like rating things, but
I say it was an above average show. And it was an above average show that had really good matches, and then the debut on there.
Yeah, it took you through a kind of a roller coaster with emotions. And
was it a roller coaster with the show?
I think the excitement of the night was not just wrestling fans. It was wrestlers. It was the industry online talking about this monumental show. You know, and what they brought you to the show for was obviously CM Punk. And they were in Chicago, All Out, CM Punk having his first match back. But what they gave you on top of that was a full wrestling experience from top to bottom. The opener, Miro versus Eddie Kingston. I'm like, all right, cool. My boy Eddie Kingston's out there. I'll fuck with them. Miro, obviously great talent. I didn't think they would have such a good match, though. I didn't know if they would have chemistry. They had a really good match. And I mean,
it was a good. That's the match. I'm not saying that was the match that was good. That was one of the matches that was good. That was one of the things that was. Eddie and Miro was a good match. Was it a good storyline? No.
I don't mind. Here's what I would say about the TNT Championship. Okay. And for you, you wanted more for a storyline, and that's fair.
Because we all want it. That's what we argue about. That's my whole thing of why I had a situation with I talked about it with the Joe from this whatever the fuck, and then Phil. You know what I mean? Like, I think it's the distraction. I don't want disrespect, but fuck it, they probably won't know what our shit is either. So, okay, if we're gonna say lack of direction, or if we're gonna say writing's important, if we're gonna say getting me there matters and things of that nature, I look at that on both sides.
Here's what I would say about Eddie Kingston and Mills program.
Okay.
Did I think it was the best built program? Absolutely not. I do think they tried with the whole angle of, hey, listen, I'm going to go for your weakness. You have a weakness to the DDT, and that's what the angle was built around. And
When has Miro ever been susceptible to the DDT?
They did the whole thing with the DDT with all the challengers he's had. Was like the biggest moment of like the night where he would get the DDT from that guy with the mask, and then is he gonna be pinned? And no, he wouldn't get pinned. Then Lee did it, or not Lee. What's the black dude's name? That's on Nightmare Family.
Lee Johnson.
Lee Johnson's. Okay, it is Lee. So they got two black dudes named Lee on their show, which is great.
It's like Leroy. just short for Leroy. We just got two Lees.
I thought that was okay. I thought I was making a mistake, but I guess not. But yeah, he did the DDT on him too, and then they started building, Eddie Kingston with that DDT, and they built the match that way. If you were paying attention, that's what happened. I didn't per se like it, but I watched it. It was an opener match, and when I actually watched the show,
it was a good match.
It was damn good.
I didn't say it was a good match. I said the show was above average. So if you want to go down the line of fuck it, we'll do it. No, we're here. And we said we was gonna start the show off hot, which we are.
With AEW.
With AEW. We said we was gonna start off the show hot with AEW. And AEW All Out, I'm not trying to say that was a bad show. But I've also said, like, Backlash was a good show, and niggas would tell me it ain't. You know what I mean? Or
I want you to tell me why it was above average, and that's good. That's not a bad thing to say. Like, I'm not saying that you're wrong that it's above average. I think that I'm just explaining why I thought it was like a really great show,
as far as
top to bottom.
And
I don't need to go through the entire card. Well, I'm telling you what I like.
As an A show, I'm not gonna say that was an A show because it was too long.
Too long.
It was a too long show for them not to give us a lot of bangers. They gave us the tag match was a banger. Miro and Kingston was a banger. Darby and CM Punk was a good match. And then what else?
Kenny and Christian was a good match too.
I saw it already.
Okay, yes, I know. But
okay.
then you get the
I got the ending. Okay,
you get the end, and we get Ruby Soho, making her debut. That was awesome. We got Minoru Suzuki coming out of nowhere with John Moxley. I appreciated that. So I think the show altogether, not that everything's gonna hit for you, but as far as serving your audience, getting interest and buzz, and people saying, "Damn, I got my money's worth." That was the best AEW show they put on yet. You don't think so?
I'm not in the revisionist history portion of it. Like, I'm not gonna be caught up in a moment with it. You feel me? Like,
that's what I want from my AEW pay-per-views. I want them to bring shock, awe, intrigue.
But they're not gonna be able to. That's not sustainable.
Maybe not. We'll see what they can do. We'll see.
How many more can we duplicate Adam Cole and Daniel Bryan coming out after every fucking show?
Yes. I think that if you just wait in time,
okay,
you get a Braun Strowman. You wait in time, you get a Bray Wyatt. You wait. And when you get to those pay-per-views and you save those moments for, hey, listen, we got something coming for you guys. Now, I know that they're going to love. Whether it's freaking Kota Ibushi making a return and facing Kenny Omega. I don't know. There's many creative ways in the wrestling industry that you can make that was a great surprise. Also, it doesn't have to be done that way alone. If it's a night of all just banger matches, then that's another way that you can have a great show. Be careful from the beard and get caught on fire on air. They shut this whole shit down.
Oh shit!
End up like fucking Kane. But deadass, like, I gotta hand it to AEW. They have not made a really egregious misstep to me. I think that they've found what works for them, and I think that they found their niche, and it's gonna work. Listen, Daniel Bryan was a main eventing WrestleMania this year. The main event. The same year, 6 months later, he's your top star in your company, one of those top stars in your company. That's a great get. So WWE is enough to put them in the main event, and you got him like just 6 months later. you know, fresh off of a main event in WrestleMania, the biggest show in wrestling. That's huge. That means that there's a multitude of, and then you got CM Punk back on top of that, and Adam Cole, a young talent that we're waiting to see get called to the main roster. Nah, y'all snag him like a whole coup with him. You know, he's on the same roster with his wife. You know, that's so cool that they have a brotherhood backstage, that they can put this shit together and have a wrestling show that people want to go to. Cedric Alexander's tweeting like, yo, I'm jealous of Swole, because Swole's getting out there, people are chanting Swole, Swole. That energy is infectious, man. So I see that AEW right now, it's just, right now the sky is the limit, but it's just a matter of them making the right steps. Are they going to make all the right steps all the way? Absolutely not. You know, I think that, absolutely.
I'm not necessarily criticizing them for that. I'm talking specifically about All Out, because Swole wasn't on All Out.
She was.
She was in the. I'm sorry, she was on All Out. She was in the Casino Battle Royale, and it was swift. You know what I mean? Like it was. You know what I mean? Like, but that goes back to I can't complain about one. I complain about other. SmackDown's two back-to-back shows without a women's match. You know what I mean? So, and the people that we want to see and advocate for is not available for us to do that for. So, like that, those are two different conversations.
Yeah.
As far as All Out gave a feel to wrestling. It gave an energy to wrestling. It gave a jolt into wrestling. But that also does not negate the fact that the whole thing didn't work for me.
No, yeah, and I want,
you know what I mean?
And you
like,
can tell us why.
Like,
what are you looking for? Like, what can AEW done better for you to make that a full package?
So, I mean, honestly, to be honest, Jericho has to lose. QT Marshall and fucking Big Show can be on Rampage or Dynamite or whatever. They do not need to take up time for the show, because that could have gave something a little extra beat. That could have gave the tag match just a little bit extra long.
The tag match did not need a beat at all.
It didn't need. It was a great match, but like I said, the finish, right? Like if I can remember the finish correctly, I would have just, I don't know, like.
Dude, that was one of the best matches of the year.
It was one of the best matches of the year.
One of the best matches of the year. So I can't say nothing about when I'm saying a match is one of the best matches of the year. I can't then say it needed another beat. I can't say that you could have cut another match. Now, granted, they could have given it something else, but QT Marshall and Big Show, yeah, you can throw it out. They use it as a cooler. They know their product. They know their fan base. Like, all right, this is gonna be a cool down before, you know, we go to the main event.
I'm being a dick by calling it a C show. All right, like. I'm being a dick by calling it a C show.
I mean, you already said you're biased. So
nah, but it was good. Nah, but honestly, it was presentation wise, right? Because we talk about all encompassing, right? It's presentation. They both should be on, but presentation, booking, the matches, of course. Like those are the things that are involved in making a good show. You know what I mean? Like, and to be honest, AEW, it was a 70-30 show, and they did a really good job in doing what they were supposed to do.
Yeah, I would agree with that. 70-30. But that's all I need. I said I need three things for me to have like an A show. I got a great opener for me. I got a great opener. I got a classic match. I got some great surprises. And 70 is, I think, about 3/4 of 100%. You know. But
that's in school-wise. 70 is also a C. So,
okay.
So like if that's my thing.
That's fair. I mean, that's how you feel.
So
it wasn't like everything hit for you.
Exactly.
You know. What show? There's like one show or two in wrestling history that everything hit.
Well, I mean, okay, so that goes back to the conversation of, can I be biased and be objective? And people do not think that that's possible, including you. Yeah. You know what I mean? So let me know why you think that if you're biased to something, you can't be objective.
Here's the thing.
Something.
If you admittedly are biased to something, admittedly you're biased. It's like, I'm biased. I like WWE. You know, and they're doing the best work in professional wrestling industry, and they're always going to have the best work because they're WWE. They've been doing it all this time, and they perfected it. Great. You can't be objective if you're looking at the other product because you are already grading in comparison to what you've been conditioned to like as far as a presentation in wrestling. You know, so if something is working, it's working. You know, you may not say that you like it, but it's working as like hell, and there's a fan base for it, and that's objective point of view. If you want to say, hey, their numbers are not where it needs to be, or their money is not where it needs to be, that's an objective point of view. If you want to say that, or if you want to say, hey, they don't have enough black stars on the show, that's an objective point of view. But if you're gonna say, oh, well, actually, that's kind of subjective because some people, I'm not sure. To me, I think that's objective to say that you should appeal to everybody if you're a wrestling company. So I think that saying they don't have enough black stars, and we'll get to the fact that they do kind of have black stars on the rising in the company.
Correct.
But it's still an objective opinion. But when you get to like, hey, that show wasn't good, that's now subjective, and you already are conditioned to like a certain way.
Well, I can say is okay. So can I? Is there okay?
That's fine though.
Well, I'm just okay. So is there a universal bad show?
I would say no. There is not a universal bad show. I think that there are people who have opinions on shows, and your opinion is not always going to match somebody else's opinion on wrestling.
Correct.
Especially if you're an old school fan, you're going to have an opinion that some of these new cats are going to be like, you're crazy, you're old, you know, like that's not what we're looking for in wrestling anymore, you know? And
but you can always, okay. WWE cut Zelina's match last night on SmackDown.
Correct.
That was in bad taste. Now WWE is a shit company because they used that show to celebrate those who were lost. Somebody who actually did lose to them, and you could have gave that moment.
And that's where I want to give a nod to AEW because AEW would have definitely capitalized on that moment to give her a match, even though it's not like even though you might have other acts you're trying to build, they'll give Brian Pillman a match in Cincinnati because he's from there, you know, and Britt Baker will be on TV in Pittsburgh because she's from there, and that it means something. And then, you know, Zelina being from New York and having on the night before 9/11, you know, I think just because they're just built differently. WWE's a corporation. AEW seems like a family of guys who are like, you know, hey, you know, we're gonna do what feels right, you know, and that's. You know, WWE's a machine. I mean, you can't expect to get what you want out of a machine.
But I know, but you say we're gonna do things that feels right. Feels right is not always fact based.
Yeah, that's subjective too.
So with that being said,
because some people can say like, yeah, Zelina should have been on the show, or they could say like, yeah, I don't want to see Brian Pillman in the main event of Rampage. I don't care if he's in his hometown, and that's all right to have your opinion on that. But to me, my opinion is. They're just different companies that they handle that business differently.
So with that being said, can I say Rampage objectively watching the show, fact based, saying that could you have given me Andrade Impactor in the show rather than Brian Pillman? Because regardless of Brian Pillman and Moxley ending the show, we got Moxley on Wednesday. You know what I mean? Like, and I don't even know if that was a part of TV. I didn't stay to watch it because I didn't care about the match.
They celebrated, and that's what it was. You know, and it was a Cincinnati show, and you know, I definitely think that they're hometown boys, and they gave them a moment. You know, it was about them. It wasn't about hey, we're trying to get this result in the future. You know, we're trying to book this person in this way. They got what they needed with the Daniel Bryan promo. And Adam Cole promos, they got what they needed for them, and they're saving them for Dynamite next week. You know, I think that, especially with Rampage, they might have a little bit less structure to me. So far it seems they're going more based off, okay, what town are we in for Rampage, and let's give them a good match.
But it's a tape show though.
It's a tape show.
It's always so, and that's another thing too, like. Rampage is taped after Dynamite and Elevation, I think is their other show, or Dark, whatever, one of the joints. And so that crowd is also
tired. They're like, this is awesome.
You know what I mean?
Even though Andrade and Pac had a great match, the Cincinnati crowd by that time, I feel like we're worn out, because they were saying, "Shan, this is awesome," but like almost like enthusiastically, because they know it's awesome, but they're probably fucking tired. And then they're like, "Oh, fight forever," and two times, and then it stopped. I do think that plays into the show, of the presentation of it.
So if I'm saying presentation matters, the way you book a show matters, the way you structure a show matters, and then the actual wrestling matters. Those are all kind of, I know they're subjective, but I think in agreement we can say that the excitement for Pac and Andrade deserved more than a tired crowd. So even
I think so too.
You know what I
would
mean?
agree
Like,
with that.
so
That
like,
was a great match, and I want to see it again actually because obviously Chavo got involved, and it was they're building something with.
If anything,
Andrade.
just give me it at the next Dynamite. You got, because what I'm looking at, they had 3 matches scheduled for an hour show, including.
They knew
the
we were
interview.
coming for Pac and Andrade. That's why they put them there, But I don't know how they look at their entire roster. They might not see Pac and Andrade as the top draws. I'm not sure, but I know that I came to see them.
Brian Pillman and MJF is.
I think
Just
that no,
because we're
Brian
in
Pillman,
Cincinnati?
they see something and they're trying to build with him and give him the rub with John Moxley in Cincinnati. And Brian Pillman will see. I think as a babyface, he has potential. I don't think there's anything wrong with Brian Pillman, and MJF is the man. What are you talking about?
He's not the. Okay.
What do you mean?
MJF lost to Chris Jericho at All Out. Now, where the fuck does he go now? He's not going for either time. And we said that feud had to make him the biggest fucking piece of shit. Well, he is that. But he has to be the biggest heel in the company.
He's not
and
the
he is
biggest
not.
heel, but that's because Kenny Omega and the Elite right now have that spot. And that's because the championship is not on MJF.
Bruh, okay, so the Pinnacle is what then? Because also...
You're right. I would say this. The Pinnacle needs to be more cohesive. Because if you guys are, you guys have did so much with the Inner Circle, having them do fucking all types of antics together. Keep the Pinnacle as a strong group. I like them separately, too, with Tully Blanchard doing his thing. But I want them to seem as, the top heel group in the company. And move, past some... I want to break up the Inner Circle, honestly. I think that's, just break them up at this point. Because Jericho's good on the mic. Sammy Guevara, I think, should be a solo act. Break up Death Triangle, too. I think Pac should be a solo act. That's just my opinion. But I see with what you're saying. Brian Pillman Jr. after Chris Jericho, it's like, okay, MJF is just in the middle somewhere. And he is. You're right. He's in the mid-card. But right now, MJF has enough cachet to be the A in the angle with Brian Pillman. His time's gonna come. I want it to be sooner than later. I personally am a huge fan, so I thought that he should be the biggest heel by now. But they took their time. They took their time with Kenny Omega, and they got him to a point where he's the main guy in the company. And they're doing a slow build with their roster. They're taking their time with Jay Cargill. I want to see more from Jay, but I don't want to They gave us 2 big returns on All Out, right? That is going to change the way the way they plan things for the future. So off rip, things are going to be different, And then they brought in Ruby Soho. Jade Cargill, she going to get her moment. I know it is. It's written in stone. But I think you can't give it all on All Out. And MJF only thing I will say, MJF should have beat Chris Jericho.
So
yes.
Okay, okay. You build up Kenny Omega to this point. He has this match with Bryan Danielson coming up. Danielson can't lose.
We'll see.
I mean, now he can with some antics and shit like that, but if he came in, Kenny said, "Give me the room." Kenny wanted it one-on-one. Now, honestly, after, he got his ass, that's what your group does. But if it is going to be a one-on-one thing, which clearly Moxley lost the one-on-one match with fucking Don Callis. So I get, but
if Daniel Bryan takes the title.
Right. So the landscape of the company now is, like you say, it is different because guys like Darby, guys like MJF, which when we talk about the heavyweight championship, I didn't think Darby was a heavyweight champion. So
that's fair. That's fair.
As a star, though, as a person that is going to continue,
to rise. I think there's a moment in time. Not right now. When I say Darby as heavyweight champion,
right.
I don't think in the next 3 weeks or the next month.
Yeah.
3 months.
That's going. The next 3 years.
I think the next,
you know what I mean?
Yeah. Within the next, honestly, I would say 2 years, a year and a half. Darby can do it, but now they have a really stacked roster, so I'm like, oh, maybe longer, But I think Darby is a huge star. MJF is a huge star. People are paying the tickets to see those guys. Like at this point, I do think people will wear the Darby mask or paint. They're gonna, get the MJF scarves. They're gonna come with the T-shirts and whatnot. I love what they're doing with AEW with the guys that they were able to get over during this period of time. Britt Baker, huge star. AEW, she got over in AEW. That's it. I don't care about what she did in the other companies because I think this is where she's made her mark, and that's an AEW product through and through. Brought in a couple of pieces with Daniel Bryan and Adam Cole in the mix. As far as intrigue and possibility and potential matchups, and CM Punk, we're not even talking about CM Punk, there's a ton of potential right now on the roster, But we'll see how things go. And I get what you're saying.
Well, I'm just saying, okay, let's get into the AEW's business and logic, right? They're doing really great business, and that's always what I've commended WWE from doing as well.
Okay.
You see what I'm saying? So when it comes to, again, my bias and how I look at it, there are holes in WWE that before there was a fucking AEW, that's what I'm saying, niggas don't know me. Niggas never listened to the podcast before, or niggas don't listen to the podcast.
Uh-huh.
They only fucking, and that's why I tweet what the fuck I tweet, because I say what the fuck I say.
Mm-hmm.
Before there was an AEW, I was not watching Raw at all. I know what bad Raw is. You know what I mean? And I'm not going to keep bitching like I did 3 years ago, because 3 years ago, it's not as bad as it is right now. Three years later, it's not as bad as it is.
It's a matter
right
if you call what you call bitching at that point, because at the end of the day, people have podcasts, people got articles, people got doing their jobs in wrestling industry, talking about it, commenting on it, being pundits, whatever you want to say. If you watch something like because I know AEW's been, but if you're watching something like a Raw, and it's been bad, yeah, you can be like, yeah, these are the good pieces about it, but when it's hard to do that, you're gonna keep it a buck, and it doesn't mean you're bitching. It's just like, yeah, this is what I see.
Okay, this is what I'm saying. This is what I'm saying. It's not bitch. There's a difference between bitching and having your gripes about something. I stopped myself from bitching about AEW because it's not bad, and that's my point.
Uh-huh.
WWE ain't the evil empire. WWE don't fucking have.
It depends on what you call bitching, because with AEW, just after All Out, you called it a C, and then you said, oh, they don't have this, they don't have that, and and that's your opinion, but somebody else might think, oh, he's bitching, he's biased, and that's him bitching about AEW. All right, so it's all a matter of perspective.
Okay, like I said, the matches. Miro and Eddie Kingston was a great match. No story that invested in me. I watched it. Okay, good match. Check. Okay. I told you I didn't give a fuck about Chris Statlander and Britt Baker. I did not even watch the fucking match. Even though
that's the thing, though. That's my thing. You didn't even watch.
I watched the match, but okay. I watched the match uninvested, and then the match didn't invest me.
I hear you, and that's fair. I look at it like this. Whenever I watch a match, I'm looking at these people at blank slate. What's the money here? And mind you, it wasn't a bad match.
No.
But it was a match. I'm not looking for a classic every single time I see somebody. What for me in that match, it just said, what is Chris Statlander to me? And I found out that she's a powerhouse. I found out that she has potential in the ring.
Yes.
But she's not there yet.
Right.
And
I shout out to Jason Cade. I knew that already about Chris.
Okay.
Because I, quote unquote, has followed, and not saying that Chris didn't deserve that spot. You know what I mean? Because she came back from injury, worked her ass off, and she grinded to get there. Was I invested in the match? Was I invested in the match quality?
Yeah.
Was I invested in the story?
Yeah.
All that shit matters to me.
And it should.
And that matters to other people, other places, as it should.
Yeah.
So like I'm just saying that like I say, niggas only want to call a spade when they talk about niggas. Like if I'm gonna say it one way, I am gonna say it the other way. Regardless of my bias, nigga. Like that's my point. In sports, I like a certain team.